King Charles has always been a man defined by the weight of his crown and the shadows that trail behind it. But nothing in his long, scrutinized life could have prepared the world for the revelation that would threaten to shatter the very foundation of the monarchy. King Charles, the sovereign whose every move has been dissected by the press and public alike, now stands at the center of a secret so profound, so incendiary, that it threatens to unravel centuries of royal legacy and tradition. When whispers began to circulate about a hidden son, a child kept from the world, a living secret buried beneath layers of palace intrigue, the world was left reeling, questioning everything it thought it knew about the House of Windsor. This is not just another royal scandal. It is the kind of secret that could topple the crown itself, a revelation that could rewrite the very rules of succession and the meaning of monarchy. Behind the imposing, time-worn walls of Buckingham Palace, where history lingers in every corridor and ancient rituals are guarded with almost religious devotion, a storm has been gathering for decades. The royal family, masters of discretion and keepers of tradition, have always managed to keep their darkest truths hidden, protected by a code of silence and a network of loyal aides willing to do whatever it takes to preserve the institution. But now, the most dangerous secret of all is clawing its way into the light. The question on everyone's lips: what did King Charles confess, and why did he go to such extraordinary lengths to keep his son hidden from the world? This isn't about Prince William or Prince Harry, whose lives have been dissected and debated endlessly by the press and public. The story that threatens to upend the monarchy centers on another son, a figure so deeply concealed that even the most ardent royal watchers had never heard his name. Rumors swirl that this child was conceived while Charles was abroad, fulfilling his royal obligations, far from the prying eyes of the British press. If true, the existence of this son would not just be a personal scandal. It would be a constitutional crisis, calling into question the very line of succession and the legitimacy of the crown. The royal family has always been adept at managing scandal. From King Edward VII's abdication for love, to Princess Diana's heartbreaking revelations about her marriage, to Prince Andrew's catastrophic fall from grace, the House of Windsor has weathered storms that would have destroyed lesser dynasties. Yet beneath all the public drama, there has always been one secret so dangerous, so potentially devastating, that it was never meant to see the light of day. The existence of a hidden son, conceived outside the bounds of royal marriage, shielded from the world by a web of silence and denial. The alleged mother of this child was not a noblewoman, nor a figure of public renown. She was someone Charles met far from the palace, and when she became pregnant, she was instructed to disappear to keep the secret at all costs. Even when she finally broke her silence, the royal family's response was chilling: laughter, dismissal, and a stern warning never to speak of it again. The palace's refusal to address the rumors has only fueled speculation, with journalists and royal watchers piecing together fragments of evidence, non-disclosure agreements, mysterious financial settlements, and the sudden disappearance of key aides. One of the most compelling threads in this tangled web leads to Australia, where a man bearing an uncanny resemblance to King Charles has stepped forward, claiming to be his biological son. His story is as extraordinary as it is plausible. Born in the 1960s, given up for adoption, raised by parents with ties to British intelligence, and silenced by legal threats and non-disclosure agreements. He has spent years gathering evidence, reaching out to the royal family for a DNA test, only to be met with stony silence. The timing of his birth, the circumstances of his adoption, and the uncanny resemblance to both Charles and Camilla have convinced many that his claims are not easily dismissed. If this man is indeed the firstborn son of King Charles, the implications are staggering. By the ancient rules of succession, he would have a stronger claim to the throne than Prince William, throwing the entire royal order into chaos. Yet the man himself claims he has no interest in the crown. He simply wants the truth about his parentage. Still, the palace's silence speaks volumes, and the public's hunger for answers grows with every passing day. The age of social media has made it impossible for secrets to remain buried. Every rumor, every leaked document, every whispered conversation is dissected and debated by millions. The old ways of managing scandal, hushed conversations, discreet payoffs, and loyal aides, no longer work in a world where a single tweet can spark a global firestorm. The monarchy, once insulated from public scrutiny by tradition and deference, now finds itself fighting for survival in an era where transparency is demanded, and secrets are hunted down with relentless determination. King Charles' own history is a tapestry of scandal and controversy. From his ill-fated marriage to Diana, to the infamous Tampongate tapes, to allegations of financial impropriety within his charitable foundations, he has spent decades navigating the treacherous waters of public opinion. Each new revelation chips away at the mystique of the monarchy, exposing the all-too-human flaws of those who wear the crown. The affair with Camilla, once a closely guarded secret, became a national obsession, forever altering the public's perception of Charles and the institution he represents. Camilla herself is a figure of endless fascination and controversy. Once reviled as the other woman, she has managed to reinvent herself as queen consort, but the scars of the past remain. Her relationship with Charles was never as simple as the official narrative suggests. It was a long, complicated entanglement that cast a shadow over Diana's life and legacy. The palace's efforts to rehabilitate Camilla's image have been met with mixed success, and for many, she remains a symbol of everything that went wrong in the royal fairy tale. The possibility of a hidden heir is more than just a personal embarrassment for King Charles. It is an existential threat to the monarchy itself. If the public were to learn that the line of succession is built on a lie, the consequences could be catastrophic. William, raised from birth to be king, would see his destiny snatched away. Harry, already estranged from the family, would find his outsider status further cemented. And Charles, after a lifetime of waiting for the crown, would be forced to confront the ultimate betrayal, not just of his family, but of the nation he was born to serve. For Diana, the revelation of an illegitimate child would have been the final, devastating blow. Already isolated and betrayed, she would have found her worst fears confirmed, her suffering validated in the eyes of a sympathetic public. The monarchy, already battered by scandal and declining trust, would have faced an unprecedented crisis, with calls for reform and even abolition growing louder by the day. Diana's legacy, defined by compassion and honesty, would have stood in stark contrast to the secrecy and duplicity of the institution she fought so hard to change. As the walls of secrecy begin to crumble, the royal family faces a reckoning unlike any in its long history. The truth, once the crown's greatest enemy, may now be its only hope for survival. The question is no longer whether the secret will come out, but whether the monarchy can withstand the storm when it does. In a world where every secret is just a click away from exposure, King Charles and his family must decide whether to continue the old game of silence and denial, or to finally confront the truth, no matter how painful it may be. The palace, for centuries, has been a fortress of tradition, a place where secrets are as much a part of the architecture as the stones themselves. But the modern world has little patience for secrets, and even less for institutions that refuse to adapt. The story of King Charles, hidden son, is not just a scandal. It is a test of the monarchy's ability to survive in an age of relentless scrutiny and demand for accountability. Every detail of the alleged son's life has been pored over by journalists and amateur sleuths alike. His birth, his adoption, the mysterious circumstances surrounding his upbringing, all have been dissected in the court of public opinion. The fact that he bears such a striking resemblance to Charles and Camilla has only fueled the fire, with side-by-side photographs circulating online and sparking heated debates. The man's own testimony, his years-long quest for answers, and the palace's refusal to engage have created a narrative that is as compelling as it is troubling. The implications of his claim are staggering. If he is indeed the firstborn son of King Charles, the entire line of succession is called into question. By the ancient laws of primogeniture, he would have a stronger claim to the throne than Prince William, the man groomed from birth to be king. The very legitimacy of the monarchy would be thrown into chaos, with no easy resolution in sight. Yet the man himself has made it clear that he does not seek the crown. He wants only the truth, a recognition of his identity and a place in the story of the royal family. His quest is not for power, but for acknowledgement, a simple human desire that has been denied him for decades. The palace's silence, their refusal to even address his claims, has only deepened the sense of injustice and fueled public sympathy for his cause. The story has taken on a life of its own, spreading across social media and dominating headlines around the world. Every new piece of evidence, every rumor and whisper is seized upon by a public hungry for answers. The old ways of managing scandal, discreet payoffs, loyal aides, and a code of silence are no longer effective in a world where information spreads at the speed of light. For King Charles, the stakes could not be higher. His entire reign, already marked by controversy and public skepticism, now hangs in the balance. The revelation of a hidden son would not just be a personal embarrassment, it would be a crisis of legitimacy, a challenge to the very foundation of the monarchy. The public, already wary of the institution, would demand answers and accountability. The story has also cast a long shadow over the rest of the royal family. For Prince William, the man raised from birth to be king, the news would be nothing short of devastating. His entire life, every lesson and public engagement, has been built on the assumption that he would one day wear the crown. The revelation of an elder brother with a stronger claim to the throne would upend everything he has ever known. For Prince Harry, already estranged from the family and living a new life across the Atlantic, the news would be yet another chapter in a long saga of betrayal and disappointment. Having already stepped away from the institution, Harry would find his outsider status further cemented. The revelation of a hidden brother would only confirm his worst suspicions about the family he left behind. The story has also reignited old wounds surrounding Princess Diana. For the public, Diana remains a symbol of compassion and honesty, a woman who suffered at the hands of an institution that valued secrecy over truth. The revelation of an illegitimate child would have been the final, devastating blow for Diana, confirming her worst fears and validating her suffering in the eyes of a sympathetic public. The monarchy, already battered by scandal and declining trust, would face an unprecedented crisis. Calls for reform and even abolition would grow louder by the day. The institution, once seen as a symbol of stability and continuity, would be revealed as deeply flawed and fundamentally human. The story of King Charles, hidden son, is more than just a scandal. It is a test of the monarchy's ability to survive in a world that demands transparency and accountability. The old ways of managing scandal, silence, denial, and discreet payoffs, are no longer effective. The public, armed with social media and a relentless hunger for the truth, will not be satisfied with anything less than full disclosure. As the walls of secrecy begin to crumble, the royal family faces a reckoning unlike any in its long history. The truth, once the crown's greatest enemy, may now be its only hope for survival. The question is no longer whether the secret will come out, but whether the monarchy can withstand the storm when it does. In the end, the story of King Charles, hidden son, is a reminder that even the most powerful institutions are built on fragile foundations. The monarchy, for all its pomp and ceremony, is ultimately a human institution, subject to the same flaws and failings as any other. The revelation of a hidden son is not just a scandal. It is a test of the monarchy's ability to adapt and survive in a world that demands truth and accountability. The world is watching, and the next move could change the course of history. Will the royal family break their silence and address the rumors of a hidden heir, or will they continue to protect the crown by keeping the past buried? The answer will determine not just the fate of King Charles, but the future of the monarchy itself. If you want to see how this story unfolds, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. And if you're ready for more royal revelations, click the next video now.